All right, it's time for the paper review now. Let's get through the headlines across newspapers in Nigeria. We have joining us a journalist and a commentator, the editor of Upshot Reports, Moji Jamiu, in the studio. Good morning, Moji.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning,
Nice
and
to
good
see
morning, Nigerians.
Okay.
All right, so we start off with the Punch newspaper. The major story here, beware of anti-workers governors. NLC warns Buhari, we will vote out governors against 30,000 naira minimum wage. Labour talking there. Labour remains resolute on its demand for 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Yes, it's expected, and the organized labor is not just calling on Buhari alone, it's calling on pensioners and other stakeholders in the labor force to ensure that the governors comply by paying or by accepting the 30,000 that has been agreed upon. It actually made reference, the Labour actually made reference to the meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum, which held yesterday, where the governors were dangling the option of sack. But then Labour is saying they know that the governors do have capacity to pay. So that's why they are drawing the attention of the president to beware of some governors that might want to scuttle his 2019 ambition.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. They're even saying if you sack workers, we will sack you at the polls.
It's quite interesting. And as a matter of fact, I don't think the governors have the locus actually to legislate on how much, because it is a constitutional matter. So I think what the president should do is to pass that agreement to the National Assembly, which becomes law.
In fact, the point there is when the issue of minimum wage was on the exclusive legislative list originally, ideally, the federal government should be discussing that. Absolutely. But bringing governors in is not out of place, but leaving it in the hands of the governors to decide. I think that is one thing a lot of people have seen that they've crossed the line.
Yeah, I think the governors are just arrogating a role that's not belong to them, to themselves. But I think Labour is out to let them know that we also have that tool, which is our TVC's tool.
Well, the federal government was just trying to avoid unnecessary drama by involving all parties involved, thinking that it was going to be an easy show. Anyway, let's move on now to the top of the paper from the left. Federal government, ASU meeting deadlocked. Another, I don't want to say crisis now.
Yes,
really.
you see, when elections are getting close, you see all manners of negotiations coming up, because especially for the organized labor and ASU, they feel that I'll be surprised if medical, if the doctors are not coming to ask for one thing or the other, because they know that when the elections are approaching, this is the time.
It's a good time to hold government.
You know, that of ASU has been on since 2009, and here we are, almost 9 years later. We are still. I mean, there was an agreement that ASU, the federal government will be paying ASU about 220 billion per year.
In fact, it's close
between 2013 and
2018. Trillion.
Yeah, 1.20 trillion. That's the total amount. It's broken down to 5 years.
Because they can't give it in one punch.
But then they said only 20 billion out of the 1.3 trillion has been paid, and they said the external sector is deteriorating. So I think they want to also use the election to hold government by the jugular to see what they can bring out.
It has become an annual tradition, really, for us to go on strike. So let's just look at the other stories. Atiku Secondus, PDP governors hold crucial meeting. Saraki Oshiomhole in a war of words. ICPC probes MBCDG over alleged 2.5 billion naira fraud. Of course, there are so many other stories on the front page.
All right, let's move to the Nation newspaper now. That's our next one. NLC dares governors over 30,000 naira minimum wage. Workers to vote out politicians who won't pay. And Oshiomhole seeks a living wage. All right, we've talked about that. So how BDCs assist politicians to loot by Magu. The EFCC chairman was revealing that. And INEC chair promises credible elections. Of course, Nigerians are expecting that. And Oshiomhole Saraki clash over bribery allegation. There seemed to be a back and forth thing where...
Yes, you know, it's expected that as a fallout of the party primaries in the APC, which became very contentious, you saw 3 governors being the major casualties, the governors of Ogun, Samfara, and Imo. So people believe they are behind the crisis Oshomole is facing. Then Oshomole comes to tell them that if you have proof that I've collected bribe, whether in Naira or in foreign currency, bring it out. You know, it's Timi Frank, former
Deputy National
Publicist of the APC, I mean, who has exiled himself now, has been firing from all cylinders, alleging that Oshomole actually took some millions of dollars. And Saraki also picked on that yesterday at the 6th-year prayer session for his late dad in Ilorin, where he said Oshomole should resign and what have you. So it's been on and on.
All right, it's been on and on. Kwara by-election, gunmen attack APC candidate. That's ports congestion. Others cost Nigeria $16 billion yearly. And Nigeria wants Moses out of retirement. We understand they have arrived South Africa for the clash there. Ganduje slams 3 billion naira suit on publisher over the video that went viral over allegations. Exactly. And 340 million tramadol tablets seized. And Mimiko quits presidential race. EFCC nabs 34 fraud suspects. And then one interesting story here, People's Money Bank coming. We remember there was People's Bank at the time.
Yeah.
He went down, and then it seemed this is coming again. We know there's Infrastructure Bank, there's the call for Education Bank. There's going to be a bank for everything.
No, yes, I think the Vice President made that statement in Ibadan yesterday during the distribution of that the trader money to traders, and I said a bank like the People's Bank, which was headed by I think late Taisola and then I mean it's on the way. It's been looked at to cater for the needs of the market women who needs between just 10 and 50,000 naira to start a business. And I think it would be a good idea if it is well conceived and well, if it's well
that
conceived
if
and well
is always a phenomenon. Yes.
Okay, so we go to the next paper now, the Daily Sun. Major story, bribery allegation. Oshomole threatens Saraki with court action. It's an empty boast, Senate President talking there. So we go to the right top of the paper beside the masthead. El Zakzaki facing murder charges. El Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, saying that he's not just being held for his own safety, but he's being held for murder charges. And of course, we understand, according to the laws of the land, that murder charges are capital offenses.
Yeah, they are not bailable. And this is the first time I'm hearing this. What government has been telling us about El Zakzaki is the fact that they are holding him for his own safety. But now this is a new dimension for El Rufai. I mean, he's not, I don't think he's the prosecutor here to tell us that the man is facing murder charges. But then is the chief law officer in Kaduna State where the case actually started from. But then I hope we'll continue to feed him with the 3.5 million.
Okay. All right. I know how Boko Haram started. Atiku Abubakar, he was speaking with a media organization, a print media organization, and was saying that Boko Haram was just an offshoot of thuggery, from political thuggery in the country, that politicians used those people, you know, to get to power and then abandon them afterwards, just like those in the Niger Delta region, the militants there. Yes,
not just Boko Haram alone, and like some people have said and have cautioned, if the Shiite issue is not well managed, it might have another Boko Haram in our hands. If not for the intervention of the Vice President on the Niger Delta issue, the militants would have been blowing pipelines. But I think we need to tread cautiously. And for Atiku, I mean, of course, Atiku should know because this development started at the tail end of the Obasanjo regime, which he was a part of. So, of course, he will have security information on how the whole thing started. So it's not a surprise. Okay, minimum wage governors can't intimidate workers. Labour, sad story here. 4 family members die after a Amala meal. And then beside it, Igbo can't achieve Biafra through war. That's about it. The Sun. Vanguard newspaper is our next. We have to be fast with this one now. Minimum wage sack threat, invitation to anarchy. Labour is revealing this. Retrench and get retrenched at the polls. ULC saying this. Cut governance costs. TUC and NECA tell governors. For 1 year, governors didn't give us a figure. Amma Peppel, the tripartite committee chair, is revealing that. And then we see 4 families
Or 4 family members die after, and others hospitalized after a mala meal in Ilorin. Now, this draws our attention to a video that went viral recently of some people using sniper
yes.
to preserve beans.
Yes.
Well, it could be a later development, because at times you wonder how the things we consume, the food we consume, quote unquote, are being preserved by some of these traders unknowingly to them that it could be injurious. Their motive is to make more money and preserve their own. We are not minding the health implications on Nigerians. So I just feel that I employ Nigerians to be cautious on where and the source of
and even NAFDAC and all of that. And I guess they have to devise new means of checking some of these things. Apprehension over 6.1 trillion naira lost to e-fraud. An alleged inducement, Oshomole threatens to sue Saraki. We'll meet in court, Saraki says. All right, endorsement of Atiku Obi ticket, IPOB, Ohaneze youths, APC disagree with Igbo leaders. All right, and bribery allegations, Ganduje slams 3 billion naira suit against online newspaper. All right, there's still issues questioning Nigeria's unity. Buhari is revealing this, and the probe reps panel uncovers another hidden bags of rice in Lagos.
Okay, so my own last paper, of course, not the least, this day, the major story, Amechi, Atiku not a match for Buhari, says PDP not an option for Nigerians in 2019. Main opposition party asks president to name his achievements in Northwest, because it's just say politics at its best. Yeah,
I will continue to see things like this. Brickbats being thrown. I mean, like you saw Atiku challenging Ochomole to resign, and Amishi is firing back. No, sorry, Saraki challenging Atiku. Of course, Saraki is the chairperson of the Atiku
the Presidential Campaign Council.
And you see Amishi now firing back that, no, Atiku is not a match. But then I think Nigerians will decide who
ultimately. Politicians shouldn't forget that. The power belongs to the people. Okay, so we go to the top of the masthead. NERC accuses Discos of withholding electricity markets' monthly revenues. Again, the power sector with its many challenges.
Yeah, at a point we had that power generation has gone to 7,000 megawatts. Now we are doing below 4,000. But then I think there has been a marked improvement in some areas. You see people telling you that they have up to 18 hours of power supply per day, whereas some will tell you they have been shut out for up to 1 or 2 months. So we are not yet there, but I think efforts are being made to ensure that we get more. But then the discourse should ensure that crazy billing
estimated billing.
Yeah, estimated billing should
There's
stop.
the issue of many households not having prepaid meters.
Prepaid meters. So I think deliberately they starve households of meters, because it gives those technicians the opportunity to disconnect you while you
get reconnection fee.
Yeah, reconnection fee. So if you have your prepaid meter, you just pay your you just buy your units and you keep going.
Name my accusers of face lawsuit. Oshomole threatens Saraki. These are the stories.
All right, the last paper for this morning is the New Telegraph. We'll just run through it. PDP leaders behind my travels, says Oshomole. APC chair, accusation of corruption must stop. And Saraki, we're waiting to see what Buhari will do. Okay, I think the blame is shifting now to the opposition as in being behind. Earlier we heard that some governors or aggrieved governors were behind his travel. Now it is the opposition.
No, actually, what the statement by Oshomole's spokesperson, Egbe Bulem, is that some PDP members are colluding or conniving with aggrieved APC members who lost out of the primaries. So, but he said all those things have been put, that they should come with the evidence that he has collected bribe from one person or the other. He actually gave the case of Lagos and Ogun as an example. I mean, that if you collected bribe
Lagos,
from who?
Ogun,
Lagos, Ogun, and Oyo. So he said his hands are clean. They should come out with the evidence.
All right. Anyway, we'll wait to see how these things go out. 30,000 naira wage. NLC dares governors to sack workers. And Waba, Nigeria Governors Forum can't intimidate labor with blackmail. Okay. Those are the headlines on the papers this morning.
All right. Mojid
Yes.
Jami, thank you for the analysis. Of course, we are keeping you for the first topic.